By the way, you could hear. I think that was Jeff Mason from Reuters asking him the question on NATO. I think that's just for what it's worth going forward. That will be he's definitely leaning into something that will be discussed when he lands there. This is again, I think it'll come to light tonight. Trump will start to really lean into NATO and this fake 5% that's being put forward. Um, there is this false perception among the U.S. elites about Trump's commitment to NATO, and I would argue that it's the other way around. The Europeans who pay 30% of the NATO budget want us to do all the heavy work. The Article 5 construct is we all contribute to our own national defenses. We're ready, we're strong, and then we'll have each other's backs. And none of these guys in Europe, Spain in particular, can't, and our neighbors to the north, by the way, Canada, won't uphold their very own commitments. Everybody wants the US to do its work for it, carry the burden, pay the bill. And I think that Trump gets a lot of credit for calling this out because I just don't understand why we, the taxpayers, should be paying for Europe's defense while they get to use their own tax dollars for all their own people. So I hope he's strong again today on this. But there's this false sense about commitment to NATO. It's the Europeans who aren't committed to NATO when they won't pay the bill and uphold their own obligations.
Dan, what happens now when the president lands at NATO after what was just done in the Middle East?
Well, we'll see if he has more to say. But I think before we heard those comments, NATO was going to announce that their members were going to commit to increasing their spending towards that 5% goal. Now, it does sound like some of what they're going to count as military spending might be, a little questionable. But I think if you look at this in the bigger picture, Sean is right. Over Trump's 10 years, he put an issue on the table that at first people were horrified about, meaning, oh my God, is he going to leave NATO? Oh my God, he's demanding too much of these people, to where it is now common acceptance that NATO needs to spend more to their own common defense. And what is our role? And that is an appropriate conversation. So if Trump is going to say something more, I'll be curious. Look, I think the thing that's really that's under the radar, not under the radar, but kind of falling by the wayside is it looks worse and worse for Ukraine by the day. And that is unfortunate. But
Dan, if I can just correct one small thing, they're not even doing what they agreed to do, right?
Yep.
So Canada and Spain in particular, for them to keep telling us what to do. If you and I have a deal that every Wednesday we say, "Hey, let's go grab lunch together. We'll go together. We'll pay for lunch." And every day at the end of lunch on Wednesdays, you say, "Hey, do you mind if you pick up the tab? I forgot my wallet." At some point, it's not fair to say, "Hey, Dan, we had a deal here and you've never upheld it. Like we're going to lunch every week, but I'm paying the bill." And I think it's right for President Trump to call the Europeans in particular out for not upholding. It's one thing, like I know the current Secretary General wants to go above and beyond, but some of these countries haven't even upheld the basic commitment that was agreed to a decade ago. And it was only because of Trump, his first term, that a lot of them are even close to where they should be. So
yeah, look, it really does mean, I think, in the big picture, Germany's going to have to rearm, and Germany is going to have to become the big neighborhood police officer. And I know that freaks everybody out, but it's been 80 years and the world is different. And at some point, Sean, I totally agree with you. And it's jarring. France and Germany and England, we're going back 120 years, are about to become or need to become the neighborhood police officers again.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.